Hi everyone, it's Bob here, the Tiny Art Guy. I just thought I'd give one of these a go. This is my fairly recent and small collection, mostly Hot Toys, 1/6 scale figures. So I just thought I'd share them with you. So these are all Hot Toys to start with. We've got the Tusken Raider, which I think's a great figure. Stuck his binoculars on. I like to accessorise my figures a little bit, and I really love the rifle. I know it normally comes with the stick, but for me, I just like the rifle look. I think it was the Phantom Menace where there was a couple of them shooting at the pod racers, which is just one of my favourite scenes. This has kind of become a really unloved figure, looking at different forums and things. Moff Gideon. For me, I mean, I really like it. I think the cape's pretty good. It's got a nice, well, beautiful colour to it, I think. And for me, the head sculpt as well, I'm pretty happy. So if I hadn't picked this up already, I would be getting it in the bargain bins out there at the moment. I've seen these going for about £100 at the moment, and for me, it's a really good figure. Sorry firstly about my photography, so it's on an iPhone, never done this before. I'll get one of those gimbal things at some point. Princess Leia, so I get a lot of my figures from The Good, the Bad and the Robots. Lee Ward, who's been in the game for ages and everyone knows. I asked him cheekily the other day if he had any Princess Leias, and he's got them all, but they're a beloved part of his collection, so he wasn't going to part with one. I really like this one. This is obviously the older Leia, but I managed to pick her up. Again, at a really good price. I think the cape's got a real nice feel to it. It is wired at the bottom. And I picked up this pose, copied this pose from someone else on YouTube. I just think it's a really good figure. One day I'll get the others. And one of my other favourite figures that, again, seems to be a love or hate figure. I know she's from the sequels, but I think this Rey and BB-8 are just lovely, just really lovely figures. Quite like the sound effect brushing over the base. I like how you can just push BB-8's head to a jaunty angle, and then again just rested very carefully these goggles on her head, taking care not to damage her. Beautiful head sculpt, but I just think she's amazing, really. Okay, so got some more Star Wars. Going over to, as you know, so I've got these in module cases. So I've got 6 module cases. I thought I was starting out, let's look what people that have got amazing collections are doing at the moment. And a lot of them are going for module cases. So I thought, well, let's start with a great load of display cases that I can then not have to worry about future-proof my collection, because my friends in the business have said to me, apparently space, and I can get that already, space is the enemy of a good collector, or of any collector. So I thought, well, let's start off big, get them in. To be honest, the first lot took a year, so I ordered 3 to start with. First lot took a year to get here, which I was expecting, was fine. And then I spoke to the guys at Moduspace, and I managed to get my next 3 literally within about 3 months. So I was well pleased with those. So back to the figures. We've got DX, can't remember the number, might be 23, Luke. Not an expert on these things whatsoever. Got a CCFL lightsaber, which looks amazing, especially with the mod case lights off. I just stuck a little Grogu on the bottom there. I think he's from one of the other figures. Actually, no, I think this one might come with Luke. Fennec Shand, Again, beautiful figure. I tried putting these little hair braids down close to her face, but they just want to pop up. But I just think the tailoring on the suit is just cracking, and the black and orange works brilliantly together. I know a lot of people pose her sat on the throne, but I just thought she sort of became an accessory piece then, and for me she's just like an amazing figure on her own. And then so I guess the centre of this part of the collection is Boba on his throne. Well pleased with this, just looks so good in the display. You can see there the 5 of them together. Sorry again about the camera, but again, I'm really into face sculpts and head sculpts. So a new friend of mine, Mandy Burton, her photography has just made me appreciate how good some face sculpts really are. So now whenever I look for new figures, I'm really drawn to face sculpt ones rather than just helmeted figures. So you'll notice that most of my figures are those with face sculpts. But he's an awesome figure. And then funnily enough, Mandy's, or certainly one of Mandy's favourite figures, she's just had hers rooted. So I need to speak to a lady called Tina to get a rooted hairdo on Bo-Katan. Again, just need to show the face, it's just brilliant. Managed to get, I'm really happy with the pose of this one, it's quite simple. But it just took a little bit of, I think you guys say fettling, something like that, which I know is normally associated to clothing, but just to get those legs at that kind of natural sat back on the hip angle. And then got this guy, probably the last out of these 5. Only just got my Mando fairly recently, and I love this one. I love the original. I love the brown and blue colours, just goes so well with Bo-Katan. You see there, as a kind of artist, I just love things tying in together, you know, it's just like how that blue comes down his arm and then into Bo-Katan, and then she's holding her helmet, and then that flows into Boba holding his helmet, and that goes to Fennec's helmet, and then you're naturally drawn up towards Luke. So I really like that little display there. At some point a couple of figures will go in the background, I expect, just so I run out of room. Speaking of which, I've got a tiny office here, so I can't back off anymore. Let's go on to the more weird figures. So let's start on this side. So I've got Edward Scissorhands. This was one I got off of Lee. This is from Art Figures. The head's got, I can't think of what you call it. It is plastic, but it just looks really, really good. Sculpted, that's the word, isn't it? Really am new to this. I started collecting probably about 2 years ago, I guess. But he's a really good figure. Was a bit of a pain, as everyone says, putting these blades in. And I've also not managed to tie up, you can see all the belt straps, but it just got too fiddly. It became kind of a, just leave it, you haven't got the patience to do this. But I just think he's great, love him. And we've got Patrick Bateman from American Psycho, and then most people get the sort of axe variant, not the variant, but put the accessories on, where he's got his wild head sculpt and he's wielding his axe. I did think about doing that, but I just like this, and my sister likes this one actually. It's her favourite figure. It's just him being normal, looking at his Rolex, very 80s, got his headset on, and I just like that look. Although Deep Nights videos on YouTube are inspiring me to perhaps get another one and use the old blood splatter technique that he does so brilliantly to kind of modify that a little bit, but that's a job for another day. And then we got Nosferatu. So I should say he's from, I think it's Caustic Plastic, you guys will know, but what an amazing figure. So I love horror and I love Star Wars, which is why these are kind of the starting points of my collection. He's just such a nice figure, really quite tall, especially when he's on his base. The tailoring, the clothing is just amazing. I wish I had a coat like that myself. It's just so nice. Again, the hands are lovely, and I love the base for this one. So you get a really nice base with some cobbles on, a couple of rats to play around with. Just a really good package, and it's well worth the money. I do buy other figures from that are slightly cheaper that I just love. So this is Bill the Butcher. I think he's called New York Butcher, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's from Present Toys. Just going down onto my knee. Again, under this lighting, I think the likeness is good. I know people have got issues with the moustache, that you can see where the tips are not part of the same piece, but to be honest, under the lights from a distance. So you've got belt and weapons that you put on, and sash. That's a little bit of a fiddle to start with. Nice base, nice figure. So I'm getting old, so I'm just going to get up, scan across these guys, and then, sorry, it's very unprofessional. So I'm going to just have a look at these 5 Marvel figures I've got. So this was the first figure I got off of Lee from The Good, the Bad and the Robots, the Iron Patriot. I've had the head sculpt on this, and then off, and then on, and then off, and the accessories on the back, but kind of like this simple look for him. He's a huge figure, weighs a ton, but really good figure. And then Deadpool. So this is the second Deadpool that Hot Toys released, I believe. Slightly less red suit, so it's got a nicer tone, kind of fits in with my collection. I like these tonal things. Again, great simple figure. Got this one second hand, can't remember the chap's name, but nice one, mate, really good, fair deal. Fairly good condition, fairly loose, the joints, but it's an old figure, and it's one that people pose a lot, so I'm quite happy with it. It's fine by me. And then I wanted a centerpiece for this little 5 set here, and so I went for the Iron Man Mark 1, hiding the sculpt because it's not brilliant. And also, he is, like people warned me on the videos, he's quite short compared to later Iron Man, so thankfully he comes on this base. That way I can sort of make him look taller than he actually is. But it's a really nice figure, really nice detail. Will probably sort out some fusion reactor lighting for my Iron Man at some point to get these lights on all the time. And then we've got Endgame Captain America, because who hasn't in his collection, in my collection. Simple pose, quite stoic, I think. Again, I've played around with this a little while, but I think he looks good. And then this was the second figure I got, again off of Lee, Good, the Bad and the Robots. And this is the Mark 85 Iron Man, the clean version. I've played with this one more than any, to be honest. Again, the head sculpt's been on and off, but this is probably it's funny, it's kind of one of my most treasured ones, I think, just because of the quality, the weight. It's just perfect. It's just, for me, it's a perfect Iron Man figure. So that's those 5, and now just going to be unprofessional again and just whiz past these figures down to my lower shelf, which is where you put your figures you don't like so much. This one, so this one's Leatherface, and he's from, I believe he's from Y Studios, and I guess it's YWHY, but you sort of, when you get it, you think, why did I buy this? I've modified this, so I've had a good play. I'm not brilliant, the hair needs sorting, but I've repainted it. So I've repainted the face to, I think, a more movie accurate figure. I've tried to dull the tie down, it's pretty rubbish. I've re-splattered the clothes, thanks to Dean Knight for the technique on that. I've repainted the arms because they were a horrible white colour. And again, I've used Dean's Blood technique on the chainsaw. So thank him for that. I can't remember the name of the blood, but if you watch his videos, he'll tell you where to get it from. It's kind of a funny paint. And then I put some resin in the bucket with a head. I think it just adds a bit of something to it. Really nice heavy base on this one. That's one thing. It's funny, the base weighs like 3 times as much as the figure, but it was cheap, and I like I love the film, so for me that'll do for my collection. And then Art the Clown from the Terrifier. Again, huge thanks to Dean for inspiring me to get this figure in the first place. I've used his painting technique. So basically I made this all white and then put the blood on myself using Dean's technique. So he's from Trick or Treat Studios, and I think you can pick him up for about, sorry for the wobble, about £120 on eBay, various places. Little second-hand. Well, I made the base up. Somebody provided the base and I did the painting. But I think for 120 quid and a little bit of fun. I love modifying stuff. I think he's a really nice figure. And then my Harley Quinn, who I actually got off of Mandy. I really like her. It's taken me ages to get her into a pose where the joints and the arms aren't that visible, and she just looks quite natural with the bat. Pulling this costume just wants to come apart all the time in terms, just go wider. Got on her roller skates, but again, Mandy did me a brilliant deal on this figure, and I'm really happy with her. So I'm going to try get up. Oh, getting old. And then just one other thing I wanted to show you, my collection. Try not to go too quick. So over here I've got a few little things, and I've got It the Clown nicely lit in there, so he's looking pretty cool. And I've got so it's a really nice figure. It's a beautiful figure. He's in here because I think the lighting in the mod cases is a bit harsh for him. He looks good with a uplight, I think. And then I've got I think it was by NECA, American Werewolf, which I've blooded a bit better. Again, thanks Dean. And then that's pretty much it. In the bottom of the cabinet I've got some, well, that's from the Luke pack, that's the Dark Trooper. I've got some of those Stormtroopers that a lot of us have got that were given to me by my lovely wife, so they're very much treasured. And I picked up this little figure in the bottom. He's quite cute down there. That's Sam, isn't it? So that's it. I will get one of those things, so I quite enjoy